Hey guys, today we will be continuing our programming series for kids, and today we will be talking about the unhighlighted stuff on the activities list here. So yeah, today we're getting into GUIs. Yay! Okay. So this is our program we created yesterday, I think, last episode. For me it was yesterday, but for you it was last episode, whenever that was. So, first thing we're doing on the list of things to do is loops. Okay, so loops. What are loops? Well, this is not a loop. Let's just say that. So, we're going to show you what a loop is. So, say you wanted to repeat a code over and over and over and over. You want to repeat one piece of code over and over and over. So, you do something like this. Let's go ahead and create a new one here. So, a loop is, this is a for loop I'm demonstrating here. So, for I equals 1 to if you can spell 10. So that's just that's roughly, and then end 4. There we go. There is a loop. That's your basic loop. So now if we go text window dot write line and we put hello world. Yes, we're doing that again. World, because instead of thinking of something, I just want to do that. And then it's going to repeat this 10 times. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you want it to repeat indefinitely, why you'd want to do that is completely beyond me, but if you want it to repeat indefinitely, you just repeat this I 3 times. The I can be anything, it's just a variable. I can make it Y, I can make it Z, I can make it E, I can make it Howard. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and now it will do this indefinitely for the rest of time until either my laptop dies or I close it. So yeah, careful with that, because if you do something, you'll probably end up freezing up your if you do it wrong, you'll probably end up freezing your computer. I know, I have done it, trust me, it can happen. So there's the deal with loops. That's a for loop. There is also a while loop and a nested for loop, which we're not getting into in this video. However, while loops we are. While loops are while this condition is true, do this. So it'll continue doing something while a condition is true. So say, let's say f is equal to true. So let's say this is equal to true. Yeah. Let's say this equals true. Now we can do while f is equal to true text window dot write line 50, because it's random. I'm random. And while. So now we can erase this, and now as long as this condition is equal to true, it will do this. So it'll do that. If I make this anything else but true, if this is anything but true here, if we put it false, it does nothing, because now we can do, we can also do another while statement. While f is equal to false, and while. And then we can do while f is equal to false, text window dot right line 25. So you don't need the quotes there for numbers, just for everyone's information here. So now, while it's equal to false, it does 25, and while it is equal to true, it does 50. So f is equal to true, it does 50, and this also can coincide with user input. So while the user's input is 25, sorry about that noise, I'm playing with this thing on my desk, hook, and if they put in true or false, it'll do the corresponding thing. It's kind of a substitute for if statements if you think you need to. However, I wouldn't recommend using it in substitution with if statements, because if statements are very powerful things, and they probably work a little bit better than while statements in setting conditions. So that's loops. That's all the loops that I know about. There are other loops, like there is the go to statement, but that is highly recommended that you don't use it, because it just makes code way more confusing than it needs to be. It makes it easier to write, but it makes it more confusing, because when you're going and looking for something, you can't tell what does what. It just makes everything way more confusing. I would limit it to 1 per program, if not none at all. I don't use go-to statements. So what's next on our activities list here? File folder management. Okay, so file folder management. So what is file folder management? I can show you with this, actually. Unfortunately, we have nothing to use a loop here for, so I did it in a separate thing. But file folder management. So say, because variables store information temporarily, and they're only temporary until you close the program, and then all that information is deleted, erased, gone. But what if you wanted to store it permanently? What if you're trying to create a word processor or something like that, and you wanted to store it permanently, or a paint program? Well, that's easy enough. If you want to store something permanently, then you do file folder management. So you go file dot, okay, so file dot here. So this enables you to create directories, which is basically just another word for create a folder. Delete directory, delete file, get directories, get files, get settings, file path. No idea what that does, never used it, but whatever. Get temporary file, insert line, last error, read contents, read line, so on and so forth. So you're gonna want some kind of permanent storage space for your file thing. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do file dot create directory, which is just another word for create a folder, but they call it create directory. So it's going to want a file path, somewhere where it can create the directory. Well, where do you want? I'm just going to do this, which is the hard drive. It has to be in quotes. So there, hard drive. Okay. So there you go. Now it's going to create the folder in the hard drive, theoretically. Now, technically, it's not, because I have not given the folder a name. To give a folder a name, first you have to know that that folder does not exist within that directory. Nothing else to do, nothing else to see. So there you go. And yes, it actually has to be these slashes, not the one with the question mark near it, but the other one beneath your backspace. So I can show you that It's here. I'll show you real quick. You don't necessarily need to be seeing this, but whatever. So let's see. Let's go keyboard. I'll show you real quick what key you need to be pressing to get that slash right there. Keyboard images. It is this one right here. This key right here. My cursor's on it. Not this one. You don't want this one. You want this one. Got it? Okay, good. Now, back to what we were doing here. So this one, not the other one. Now, so you know what slashes I'm using here. So now, that's going to create a folder. Now let's test it. Let's test it. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this. We're going to move this up here. Remember that syntax ordering? Well, I wanted to create the folder first. I don't want to have to go through the whole program for it to create the folder. So we're just going to do this. Expected a condition here. So we screwed up apparently somewhere. Where is that? Oh, that was dumb. I must have accidentally pressed a button. Okay, so there we go. Done. We don't have to do anything else. Now we go in here. We go into local disk, and there's folder 1 right there. And to prove it wasn't created before, how do I prove that? Oh, yeah, I just deleted it. Now we're going to run the program again. And it's right there. There you go. That's to prove that it wasn't created by me before I started recording. Because I know how some people are. They're like, well, you just created it before you started recording. No, I didn't. Now, that's the magic of coding. Now, we want to store something in that folder. We want to permanently store the variable jack, what the user types. We want to permanently store that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go file dot insert line. So now we're going to need, and this is really useful. This is something I forgot to explain here. This right here is really useful, especially with small basic. It shows you what you need for that specific whatever you're doing. So insert line, I need a file path, a line number, and the contents of the file. If I don't put any contents, then there'll just be nothing in the file. It'll just create the file. So you can leave this empty. Line number you cannot, and the file path you cannot. You just I'll show you how to leave this empty. So we need the file path of this folder, which we already know that file path. So we'll need quotes for this. C dash slash slash. Why am I doing 2 slashes? What's wrong with me? Folder 1. There you go. There's the file path. Now we need the line number. The line number. What am I talking about when I say line number? I'm talking about these. Line 1, line 2, line 3. That's what those are used for. That's what I'm talking about. So it's thinking this. So up here is line 1, and down here is line 21. Get my drift? Okay, so that's what you're going to want. So we're just going to put this on line 1 for simplicity here. You do whatever you do. Now we want the contents. You can either just leave these quotes blank. The quotes have to be there, otherwise it's going to give you an error. And you leave these quotes blank and it won't put anything at all. Or you can put something in those quotes. Or you can make whatever the user inputted go in there. Now this won't work. Then you want to know why this isn't going to work right here? Because of syntax ordering. Why I say that is because it goes in the order of events. So we want to store what the user types into the name thing, into the name thing. Well, it ain't gonna work right there. So we're gonna need to move it. And you ask where do you need to move it? You need to move it after they type it. So let's see what. Is it just me or something missing? Something confusing just happened. The more I started looking at this, the more it started getting confusing. Something's missing. Where? Okay, hold on. Let's go back here. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now that it's less confusing, let's try that again. So, I'm just going to do this real quick because I don't edit these videos, so yeah, hate to break the news to you, I'm just that perfect. Or I think I am anyways, I don't know. Actually, it's not perfect at all. It's, so, there you go. So you got that, and you need the contents of the, I don't know how this stuff got erased, I don't even know how that happened. You're going to need line 1 and the content. So we want T, because we want their name. We want to store their name in this file here. Now, technically it ain't going to work, as I said, because it needs to be after this. Meaning they need to type it before it writes it to the file, otherwise this is going to be all confused. You're trying to, it's just like trying to know what a book is about before you read it. Same with a computer, it can't predict the future. It might be the perfect machine, the best machine to play Minecraft on, but not the best machine in the sense of telling the future. So, and not all programming languages are like this, but a lot are. So you're going to cut this. We're just going to move it down here, okay? So, easy peasy. Now, it's still not going to work. And you're asking why? Because we forgot the file name. That is why it's not work. File name. We need the file name. We need to know what it is. You're going to also need your file extensions enabled. So what that is these things right here. I'll show you. This right here, this has to be enabled. You have to be able to see this. Otherwise you're going to be all confused. So see .dll and .dll and .exe and it's not showing on this one because it is a shortcut, but it goes to launcher.exe as you can see. It's actually an inc or shortcut thing, .inc. For some reason, it's going to show those. To enable those, there's two ways. I'll show you both. To enable those, so the first thing you're going to need to go is you're going to need to go in here, and if you're on Windows 8, you just go View, and you go Show, Hide, and you go File Name Extensions. Or, if you're on any computer, on any operating system, you just go, you hold the Windows button and R, and you go Control Panel. Or you can go in the search and Start menu and search for it, but this is the way I do it, okay? You go Control Panel, and you go into Appearance and Personalization, and you go Show Hidden Files and Folders, and you go down and you uncheck this. You don't keep this checked. Hide extensions for known file types. If this is checked, it's not showing the .exe, the .txt, the .tar, whatever it is. So you want to uncheck this. So you're going to want this unchecked so that you know. And I'll show you why in a minute. But just make sure this is unchecked. If you need to, pause the video and follow my instructions slowly. So, let's see. This is why you're going to need the file extensions here, because you're going to want to know, you're going to want the file name, you're going to want the name and the extensions. So we're going to do .txt because that's simple. So we're going to do file1.txt, which makes life way more simpler. So now that's why you're going to want the file extension there showing, so you know what the file extension is. So we're going to do that, and then that hopefully will create the file. Probably not though. And I'll show you why in a minute if it didn't. No, it didn't, because we did not execute that piece of code. So we're going to want to execute that code. To execute that code, we're just going to go through the program. Enter your name. We're going to put Jack, just because. Enter your age, 50. There you go. Now, if we go in here, it may or may not have worked. Jack. There you go. You have stored it permanently, that one thing. And now, this is why you need the .txt showing, is because if you wanted to change the file extension, you couldn't if it wasn't showing. Again, if you go View, and you go Show High, and you go File Name Extensions, that's where it's at. On older versions of Windows, it's in Control Panel and whatever. In Windows 10, I think it's pretty much the same. It's just not in this menu. It's kind of a checkbox. So let's see. Let's do this. There you go. That's how you store something permanently. Now that's like the bare minimum. That's like the easiest it gets right there. And yes, that only takes 2 lines of code right there. So that's how you store value permanently. It can be a number, it can be a letter. Again, if you want the value to be blank, you just do that and it's blank. It's done. If you want to type the contents in yourself, you put things between these parentheses. Or if you want to print something from a variable or some user input, you put the variable that you're taking the user input from. So that's how you do that. So now, what to do next? What's on our... Let's see. So, another thing you can do with this file, if you wanted to append something, you can go Append Contents. So there's also read contents. So if you wanted to read from that file, so if you wanted it to show everything, file.read contents, read line, just read like one line. But if you want to show everything in a file, you go read contents, the file path, and we're just going to do ourselves a little bit of a favor here and copy that. And there we go. So now it will show everything in that file. But it won't because we don't have a variable. So we're going to go f is equal to, I know I use the alphabet for variables and that's not very creative and blah, 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 blah. Please shut up. So now we're going to go text window dot write, and write just appends at the end of this, which is actually not what I want. So write line. We're not going to want the quotes, just F. Now, anything that is in that file shows up, Jack. That's what's stored in that file. That shows the contents of the file. Even if I were to go into that folder like this.
Well, whatever. I don't have it.
I'm going to the wrong things here. Folder, file, Jack. And if I were to type something else, like George, how do you spell George? George. I probably spelled that wrong, so if I mutilated anyone's name, I'm sorry. And you run this, and there's George. So there you go. So what if you want to delete that file? Is probably your next question. Well, what if you don't want that file there at all? You just want to delete it. So that's easy. So we just get rid of this and this. We just go like this. We can go just file dot delete file and the file path. So because I copied that earlier, I'll just put this back in here. And wow, did I screw that up bad? So done, gone. See, gone. There you go. Now that's that. So those are the basics. There's more, but I'm not going to have time to do that all in one video. So now every time somebody opens this thing, it'll delete the file if it's there. If it's not, then it won't. But if it's there, it'll delete the file and then it'll store a new value, whatever that may be. So you can do a lot more fancier things with this, but we're going to leave it at this, okay? So let's see if there's anything else in file that I'll want to explain, because file folder management. This deletes a folder, same way you created a folder, basically. Get directories, get files. I think you guys know what that does. It kind of says it up here, up over here. Insert line, last error. Actually, I've never used that. I don't know what that does. No, not really. Nothing I really care for explaining. Just let you guys just experiment with it, guys. So images. Yes, images. So you want an image. This actually ties in with GUIs, or GUIs, or however you want to say it, whatever. So new. This ties in with GUIs. To make a GUI, it's easy. With this language. With any other language, it's not. Actually, it's pretty easy with Python. But graphics window dot show, and that will create this. Now it's pretty boring. Nothing you're going to necessarily care for seeing. But yeah, there you go. That's a graphics window. So you want to put an image in this graphics window. Graphics window dot draw image. Now I don't have an image at the moment, so what we can do to get an image, we're just going to use the image of this keyboard, okay? Save image as. So the way graphics windows work, or GUIs or GUIs or whatever you want to call them, let's get rid of the big long name. Let's just name it keyboard. The way GUIs work, you're going to need the image name and the XY value. This is where X and Y come in. This is where some of the math that you hear that programming requires, that you may have heard programming requires, comes in. Now, it does not require that much math. It just basically take the best guess you have. That's how I do it. So X and Y. I'll go into those real quick before we get into this. X and Y. I'll put this in the description. What am I doing? So I'll go ahead and put this in the description if you guys want me to. Actually, not if you guys want me to. This will be in the description. X is up. X is left to right. What's wrong with me? Left to right. Whoa! What is wrong with me today? Can't spell or type or anything. Y is up and down. There you go. That's the best way of explaining it. Y is up and down, X is left to right. And that's the best way of remembering it right there. That's how I do it anyways. So I will go ahead and save this as the XY axis. XY axis. Save. There we go. There it is. Right there. See the file? Okay, so that's the XY axis. X is left to right and Y is up and down. And that will be linked in the description. So, draw image. So we're going to need the image name. So, not technically. We need the image file path, which we save to our desktop, which is right here. So we're going to need the image file path and name and extension. So we're going to do properties. Best way to get this file path is you go right click and go properties, and you look for in general tab, you look for location, and your thing is right here. So it's on the desktop. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do this. We're going to go cut. We're going to go in here and we're going to go ahead and paste it because that's the folder we've been using for the past 5 minutes. So I'm just going to use it again. And yeah, simple file path. Oh yeah, make your file path simple. Don't make it all complicated. Don't do 1 2 3 4 5 8 9 7 3 5 5 5 8 7 7 6 and P1 3 5 5 9 6 dash 9 1 3 9 5 IL 5K. That just gets confusing. Don't do that. First off, I hate when developers do that. Why do they do that? There's like, you click on a folder and then you click on another folder and click on another folder and click on another folder and click on another folder. It's like, really? Can we not do that? Okay, so this is the file path and we're going to need the name. We named it keyboard. Keyboard.png. Easy. Now, what should happen? Well, we're not going to save that. What am I doing? Habits. Now we're going to do the x value, which is going to be 0, and the y value, which is going to be 0, which is going to put it up in the little corner, up in this little corner right here. So now we're going to run it. Voila. There it is. There's the image. The image that you wanted. That I wanted in there. That's how simple it is. Do not look at guides on the internet. They suck. It's always some big, long, complicated process, and it's not really that complicated. It's actually one of the more simpler things you can do. So there you go. So the XY axis is pretty much a good guess. I mean, if you wanted it at the bottom, use logic. Y, how big is your window? That's the first thing you need to find out. Getting into GUIs now, since we're already on that subject. GUIs are pretty easy and small basic. It's pretty much, so to set the window width and height, graphics windows, they're a little bit more complicated, and we're not even anywhere near done with this tutorial series. We still got probably about 2 more episodes before we're done with this. You know, that's a short series, isn't it? Can resize. What does this do? Well, this prevents you from resizing the window. So if you put this to false, it can be 0 too. If you put it to 0, it's the same thing as false. 1 and 0, that's the same thing as true and false. 1 is true, 0 is false. I'll go ahead and put that in here too. How about that, guys? So 1 is true, 2 is false. I'm just going to do this like this because it's simpler. So yes, 1 is equal to true and 1 is equal to true and 0 is equal to false. What is wrong with me here today? Jesus Christ. So if you put 0, it means false to the computer. It means the same thing as just putting false. So if you for some reason have trouble spelling false or don't want to type all that, you can just put 0 or 1. Now, so can resize. Oh yeah, this doesn't require parentheses. It requires an equal sign like that. And now I can't resize the window. And to prove that, I'll just go ahead and I'll just put this as true. There we go. Now we can resize the window. Set it to false. And you can no longer resize the window. There you go. Can't even do this. Can't even do the little pooey thing down here. So there you go. That's that. That's the basics right there. Graphics window. You can even change like the background color, which that's easy. You just go equals blue, and you're home free. There you go, blue. That looked weird, but whatever. That's background color, and then graphics window dot. And I did background color again for some fucking reason. Keep doing that, don't I? Width, which basically let's set the width and height, 800. Graphics window dot height is equal to 600. And now it resizes the window. Now it's bigger, as you can tell. If you want it to always appear on one spot of the screen, as you can see, it appears wherever. Well, actually, that time it did not do that. Apparently not. Apparently it appears in that one spot now. Anyway, if you want it to appear on a specific spot on the screen, usually it follows the cursor, or that's what I've always noticed, is it follows the cursor. You want it to appear on one specific spot on the screen, so if you always want it to appear in this corner right here, right here, right here, right here, you can do this. You can go graphics window dot top is equal to 0, and graphics window dot left is equal to 0. Now it's going to always appear in that corner. It'll always be like that. If you want to put it in the center of your screen, that's easy. Okay, so that sounds difficult, being able to put a window in the center of your screen like that, to center it like that, but easy. If you're watching this, you probably know this, but if you go into Control Panel, and you go into Hardware and Sound, I think, wherever you find adjust screen resolution, and you find your screen size. Mine is 1366 by 768, and divide those two numbers by 2. You'll get the close to the center of your screen. You'll get pretty close. Divide these two numbers by 2. So I'll show you that real quick. We'll go ahead and we'll do this. So we'll do this here. Let's see, where is my calculator? Calculator. EXE. Calculator is so let's divide my screen by 2. So it's 1366 divided by 2, and that is 683. And then you clear this baloney. I don't know why it's set to scientific or programmer or whatever. And then 768 divided by 2 is 384. That gets relatively close to the center of the screen right there. I've always found. So if you want it relatively close to the center of the screen, do that. So to center a window, divide your screen resolution by 2. There you go. That's easy, right? Okay, so center a window, divide your screen resolution by 2. I basically showed you the entire graphics window. Graphics window dot brush color. Basically, you can color your text with that. So if you have like text, you color it. Same. It works the same as background color. Nothing to show you there. Draw ellipse. It just draws a circle. If you know all the XY baloney. Draw image. I showed you that. Draw a line. Same thing as draw ellipse. Draw rectangle. That's obvious. Draw a resized image. That allows you to resize the image. Nothing to show unless you really want to see it. Width, height, easy. It's the same as the width and height for the graphics window. Draw text. This will allow you to draw on the screen. So if we did, that's 0, 0, and that's an 800 by 600 image, I'm assuming. So no, it's not 800 by 600. What's wrong with me? So let's go. Let's do this. Let's do 200. And then for the X and 200 for the Y, and then let's put just to drive people crazy, I'm gonna put hello world. I know I've already used it way too much in this video. World in these videos. So now if we go in here, hello world right there. It's hard to see. If we change this to red. probably get easier to see. There you go. Hello world. There you go. Easy to see now. White would be even easier. White. There, see? Okay, so there is your there's your text. That's how you put text on the screen. And then let's see, let's do this. Let's do graphics window dot. Let's see, what haven't I showed you? Title. If you want to put a title on, this works for text window as well on your window. This right here, basically. You just go title equals whatever your title you want your title to be. I'll just put whatever, and now it's named whatever. So there you go. And what else do we have on our activities list here? Subroutines. Yes, our last thing is subroutines. What is a subroutine? Okay, if you've worked with other programming languages, which if you're actually watching this and you're actually in the Edge group that I've set for this tutorial, then probably not. But if you have worked with something like Python or C++, then you'll know what a subroutine is. It's kind of like a function. So in Python, it's function or def or whatever. I don't even know. I don't even remember now. It's probably def, and then it's 20, and then I have so many programming languages in my head. Don't listen to me. Whatever your name is, and it's little parentheses and whatever. C++, it's function, name, and then parentheses. But in Small Basic, it's sub, the name of your subroutine, and then end sub. Basically, it allows you to execute your code multiple times. So if you wanted to do textwindow.show, and you had multiple if statements, then you could execute that code over and over. And to call a subroutine in Small Basic, it's just like that. So that's a subroutine. This will be reviewed. I am running out of time, so this will be reviewed in our next video. I'll go into a little review, I guess, kind of thing, because in our next tutorial we will be talking about GUIs more extensively, and it'll be a little bit more detailed, and we might even write a basic word processor. That was my plan. I kept bringing up word processors, didn't I? I brought it up in the introduction, actually, and there you go. So, with that in mind, I'll have to end this video here, and we'll go ahead and save this real quick before I end off. GUI, or GUI, or whatever the hell it is, tut. Nobody cares what it is, but whatever. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.